Hi. So today we'll be checking out a few more things with the terminal. I uploaded the first video, which takes you through a bit of navigating around folders and files using the terminal. Today we're going to look at creating a Python virtual environment and starting our first Django project in it, and maybe a little bit of Vim to quickly edit files right there in the terminal, which not only makes you look super cool as a developer, but is also a much faster way to make code changes. Although not recommended that you make changes on a server, but it does happen often that you have to come down to the terminal, open a particular file, switch a setting from true to false, and the entire CI/CD pipeline of doing it locally, pushing it to GitHub, and pulling it on a server kind of sometimes may be a bit redundant. So let's dive right in. As always, my favorite folder is Documents Code Bases. And we're going to create a new directory here, say new demo terminal using mkdir. As we learned last time, to enter a new directory, you hit CD and the name of the directory and hit tab to autocomplete. How do we know that this directory is here? We can do that with ls on Mac or Linux systems and dir on Windows. So as you can see here, we do have that directory, and hence new demo terminal should bring us into that directory. For some reason, if I want to go back to my root code bases directory, I can do cd dot dot. Cd dot dot without a space will not work. It is cd dot dot. It might work on Windows. Now, going back into code bases and our new demo terminal, we see that the folder is completely empty. There's nothing in it. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we have Python installed. Two ways to do this. First, check the version, or simply type Python 3 and you should have the Python shell working. Now that I have Python installed, I can go ahead and create a virtual environment with this command. Now, let's pause here for a moment. Python 3mvenv is a built-in Python command. So this virtual environment module comes built in with the language Python. Hence, no extra dependencies to install, and you can hit the ground running with the virtual environment. So Python 3mvenv. The last part can be env, can be anything you want. I like to call it env because I have a shortcut script which then lets me activate env named environments very quickly. I'll show you that in a bit. So with Python 3-m-venv-env, we have a virtual environment created. How do we know it's there? We do ls and we have a new folder. Now you might be the curious kind and want to have a look inside the environment folder, but for paucity of time, we won't do that right now. You don't have any business being inside the environment. Our business is activating the environment, which we can do with source bin env/activate. env/bin/activate. And there you go. We have an environment active. If I do deactivate, you'll see the three letters env going away. I also have a very cool script to activate the environment. Instead of typing the entire source env, I just type env. And it does this for me. And I have a bunch of other aliases also that I have set up to make my life easy. Now, so far, we have used the built-in Python installation, the built-in virtual environment package within Python to create a virtual environment. But we haven't asked ourselves why. Well, if I was to do pip list outside the virtual environment, you'll see a bunch of modules and dependencies installed globally. Now, this may not be ideal, but the fact is that they are there. And if I kept on installing dependencies for each package globally, there is bound to be conflict at some point. So if I activate the environment and then say I install Django, without which the project cannot start. So let's install Django. And now if I do pip list inside this Python environment, you can see these are the only things that are installed within this project folder, or rather within this project environment. Now, at times using pip, you might see commands like this to upgrade pip, and it's always a good idea to comply with whatever error messages your system is throwing at you. Now, I hope the idea of creating an environment is clear. Why we do it is to contain our packages. How we do it is using the built-in Python module, and we've already installed Django. So time to get the project up and running. So we can do Django, admin, start project, new demo. And this should go ahead and create another folder. Now, if we enter this folder with methods we've learned, you'll see a bunch of stuff, right? I have a cool tool called Ranger to explain this better. And just give me a moment. So as you can see, inside new demo, we have another folder, new demo. And this new demo has a bunch of files, ASCII, settings, URLs, and WSGI. If at all the few changes you make in a Django project at the start are right here in settings.py, we are not going to do much. We will launch the server once and then use settings.py as the reference file to make a small change using Vim. All right. So we press Q to get out of Ranger. If you don't have Ranger installed, that command will not work for you. So what we want to do next is first do python 3 manage.py run server and make sure that the installation is correct. All right, you should see this if you got Django installed correctly. Let's get out of this. You see this little red warning here? We'll get to it in a bit. To break the server, Control C, and you disconnect the pipe and break the server. By break, you don't break it permanently. Well, you stop it. Now, like I said, we want to make a small change inside new demo. So we're going to do cd new demo. We'll find settings.py. Well, it's here. So now I'm going to do nvim, or you could even do vim settings.py. Before we launch this, please note I have an alias set where vim also opens NeoVim. You might have a traditional Vim, but most of the commands should be the same. So if I do vim settings.py, you'll see my settings.py file open right here in the terminal. Now, say I want to turn debug true into false. So once you come to the place you want to make corrections at, you press I, which activates the insert mode. And then it's regular keyboard typing.